Okay, so this first video is going to use the formula in order to apply linear interpolation. So first of all, we have a situation where we have a chart that has recorded heights. We've got the frequencies and not normally given, but this time we've given the cumulative frequencies as well. If you're not given those, you have to work them out. Basically, the idea is that with the formula and with any other method that we're using to interpolate, we are basically drawing a cumulative frequency graph, and we are using the graph to get the value that we need, that's the data value. So for instance here, heights are on the x-axis and the cumulative frequency is on the y-axis. And if we want to know one of the values, say the 30th value, then you would draw a line across with a ruler, draw a line down with a ruler, and therefore you could say that the 30th value is approximately 28. So we're going to be doing a method somewhat like that, but using a formula. So using the formula, this is the formula here. And if we want the median, then we want the value that's halfway up. If there are 36 bits of data, half that, you get 18. So we want the 18th value. And the 18th value is, if we were to use a cumulative frequency graph, we would go along from the 18th cumulative frequency and we would go down to the height that was associated with it, and we would get a value here. So we're looking at a value around 23 maybe. So first of all, we need the lower class boundary. Now normally you wouldn't have the cumulative frequency graph drawn, but we know that it's in the 20 to 30 class, which is this row here, and the lower class boundary there is 20. So now we've got n over 2, which is 18. You could write 36 over 2 if you wanted to. And we take away the cumulative frequency up to the median. And the cumulative frequencies up to the median class are 13. The number you're taking away shouldn't ever be bigger than the number that you've got first. So the 18 is bigger than the 13. And then the number on the denominator, it says frequency of median class, so that's 19. And this whole fraction here shouldn't ever be greater than 1. We multiply by the class width. So the upper class boundary is 30, lower class boundary was 20, so the width is 30 minus 20. And when you use your calculator, you get a value of 22.63157, or 22.6, or 6157, I should say dot dot dot, really. 22.6 to 3 significant figures. Okay, so that's a bit of a quick recap on how to get the median. So now you've got this data here, you're going to need to pause the video, and for this data, it's the same data, calculate the quartiles, the 7th decile and the 65th percentile. So if you pause now, and then the solutions will follow. So here is the calculation for Q1. We need a quarter of the way up the data, which is 9, so the 9th value. That's in the 10 to 20 class. So we take the lower class boundary of the 10 to 20 class, which is 10, and the class width, and it goes from 10 to 20, so that's the class width, 20 minus 10. N over 4 is your 9. The cumulative frequencies up to that point are 5, and the classed frequency for the median class is 8. Do the calculation, you get 15. Similarly for Q3, I'm not going to talk through this one. You should follow it, so pause if you need to look at the calculations. And then D7. D7, we want to go 7/10 of the way up the data. So 7/10 of n 0.7 times n, you get 25.2, and then you follow the process exactly as you did before. P65, so the 65th percentile, so 65 hundredths of the way up the data. So we do a very similar calculation to before, and we get our number we're looking for, and again then all the calculations are similar to before. If you are struggling with this method, I would recommend looking at the line method. So here's another example for you to do. Be careful with this data because the classes don't meet. So you have to remember that you're actually treating the class as if it goes up to 2.95. So this class starts here at 2.95, etc. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as before. And you need to pause it, do the questions, and then the answers are on the next slide. I say slide because it's a PowerPoint, but in a moment. So here are the answers. If there's any answer that you're getting wrong or you disagree with, then make sure you query it with your teacher or with someone who you think has got a good grasp on the concept. And then if you need any more practice of this, and I would strongly recommend that if you've needed to watch the video you practice this further, then I would recommend the Physics and Maths Tutor website. So you can follow that link there, or just go onto the website and find it. It's got some fantastic revision resources for all sorts of subjects, well, all sorts of topics, for core and for stats. And I'd recommend that you scroll through these questions, and there are answers there as well. If you're having trouble with any of the questions, then Exam Solutions is a good website. If you Google that and have a little look through it, they have past paper questions with video solutions, which are very useful as well. Okay, thank you very much.